All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a really clear, actionable strategy for one of India's toughest entrance exams. Yep, the CLAT. We're going to build a solid blueprint for hitting that coveted 100-plus score.
Look, if you're staring at a huge mountain of advice, a dozen different books, and all these conflicting strategies, you're not alone. It's a high-stakes exam, and it's easy to feel lost. But here's the good news. A top score is totally achievable, but you need the right blueprint.
So that's what we're here to do. We're going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to build a simple, powerful, and memorable framework for your preparation, drawing from expert advice and the exact strategies that have worked for toppers in the past.
We're going to structure our plan like a pyramid. See, we're starting with the most critical part, the foundation, what we're calling the practice engine. On top of that, we'll build the framework by mastering the sections. And then we'll place the final piece on top, the summit, the winning mindset. So let's start building.
Okay, let's dive right in. The absolute non-negotiable base of our entire pyramid is this idea of a practice engine. This is where it all begins. Get this wrong, and the whole thing comes tumbling down. So if you only take one thing away from this section, let it be this. The CLAT is a practice-based exam. But just taking tests over and over, that's not the point. The real magic, the quote-unquote secret sauce for getting better, is in deeply analyzing every single mock test. It's all about learning from your mistakes, not just making them again and again. So what's the magic number we're aiming for here? The target is around 60. Yep, 60 full-length mock tests before the exam. And this isn't just about practicing questions. It's about building up that mental and physical stamina you're going to need to perform under intense pressure for 2 hours straight. And this, right here, this is the engine. It's the loop you need to live and breathe. It's a constant cycle. You take a test, then you spend a good hour, maybe even an hour and a half, analyzing every single mistake. You figure out what your weakest spots are. And then you attack those weaknesses with focused practice. Then you do it all over again. This is how you improve. I really want you to look at this because the contrast here couldn't be clearer. The key insight is that 10, just 10, thoroughly analyzed mocks are infinitely more valuable than 100 mocks you just take and forget about. See, taking tests without that review just hammers in your bad habits. But that deep analysis, that leads to real, measurable score growth. It is absolutely all about quality over quantity. Okay, so our practice engine is running. Now it's time to build the actual framework on top of that foundation. This is about mastering the specific skills you need for each and every section of the exam. First things first, here's a look at your game plan for time. You've got 120 minutes, and this is how you should break it down. As you can see, the biggest chunks of time go to legal reasoning at about 35 minutes and logical reasoning at 30. After that, we're looking at English for 20 minutes, quant for 15, and a quick 10 minutes for GK. And if you're quick with math, you'll notice that only adds up to 110 minutes. That's on purpose. That gives you a 10-minute buffer for any tricky sections. Now, for the 3 big reading-heavy sections, that's English, legal, and logical reasoning, the strategy actually shares a common core principle. And it's so important. You have to work only with the information given to you in the passage. You've got to train yourself to leave your own biases, your personal opinions, and especially your prior legal knowledge at the door. Your only job is to understand the author's argument and apply the rules they give you, nothing else. Okay, let's talk about the quantitative section. The strategy here is all about surgical precision. This isn't about becoming a math wizard, it's about being smart and strategic. Instead of trying to master everything, you focus like a laser on these high-frequency topics: average, ratio and proportion, percentage, and profit and loss. And they're usually all wrapped up in these data interpretation sets. Why these? Because they show up again and again, and mastering just these can reliably get you around 10 marks with super high accuracy. That's the biggest bang for your buck in this section. General knowledge can feel like trying to drink from a fire hose, right? It just never ends. So to avoid drowning in information, you absolutely need a system. First, limit your sources. Seriously, pick one good monthly compendium and stick to your daily notes. That is it. Second, organize your notes by topic, not by date. Group things under themes like international affairs or science and tech. This helps you make connections. Third, always ask why. Don't just memorize what happened, understand why it was a big deal. And finally, revise. Make it a non-negotiable weekly habit. Your goal is to review everything 3 or 4 times before the exam, so it's really locked in there. All right, the foundation's poured, the framework is up. Now we get to the very top, the summit of our pyramid. And this is all about the mindset that's going to sustain your effort, keep you going when it gets tough, and carry you across that finish line. Please avoid creating those crazy minute-by-minute military schedules. I know they look impressive on paper, but they are incredibly fragile and honestly a fast track to burning out. The second one thing goes wrong, the whole day feels like a failure. Instead, you want to go for a flexible, task-based approach. Your goal each day isn't to study for 8 hours. It's to complete specific tasks, like I'm going to solve 3 legal passages or I'm going to analyze yesterday's mock test. This approach is adaptable and it makes sure you get the important stuff done. So, how do you actually stay focused during those study blocks? Well, there's a really cool trick for that called the Pomodoro technique. It's simple. You work in a super focused 45-minute sprint, and then you take a short 5-minute break to reset. This little cycle prevents you from getting mentally exhausted and keeps your mind sharp for way longer. And this, honestly, might be the most important piece of mindset advice you'll hear. Consistency will always, always be motivation. Why? Because motivation is a feeling. It comes and it goes. Discipline, on the other hand, is a system. It's what builds real progress. Think about it. On the days you feel motivated, great, you study. But on the days you feel unmotivated and down, you still study. The real progress happens on the days you show up, even when you really don't feel like it. And you have to remember this powerful metaphor, the Chinese bamboo tree. For its first few years, you see almost no growth above the ground. It looks like nothing is happening. Then, all of a sudden, it shoots up dozens of feet in just a few weeks. Your mock scores can be just like that. You might hit a plateau for a while, feeling completely stuck, and then, boom, a sudden massive jump. The key is not to give up during that plateau. Okay, so after all that, what does it all boil down to? What is the simple, powerful blueprint we've built here today? Here it is, the CLAT pyramid. Your blueprint for a 100-plus score. It starts with that rock-solid foundation of practice and analysis. It's built up with a strong framework of section-specific skills. And it's all topped off with a winning mindset that fuels your consistency and your resilience. The path to success is laid out. The strategies are proven. So the final step, and it's the most important one, is taking consistent daily action to build your own pyramid, one single block at a time. The blueprint is clear. The real question is, what are you going to do with it?